Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of On the Range, and today I'm in the A-10C Warthog to talk about creating waypoints and using coordinate data passed to us by a JTAC or some other entity in a mission to find and take out targets. So for our purposes, I have two targets out here in the distance that I have coordinates for, but I'm going to assume that I just have no idea where they're at. And let me engage the autopilot right here, straight ahead, so that I can go heads down. And the workflow is going to go something like this. I'm going to receive the coordinates from the JTAC or whoever is passing that info to me. I'm going to create a waypoint at that location that I can then use to slave my sensors over to that location, or just use my aircraft systems to locate the target visually and then take out the target. So let's go ahead and start with the coordinates. The first target that I have coordinates for is located at 11 Sierra Papa Alpha 35026 53669 at an altitude of 3,041 feet above sea level. These are MGRS coordinates, so with those coordinates in the altitude, I have that position in 3D space where I know to look. So with that data, now we need to create the waypoint, and let me go ahead and go heads down here. I'll use the snap view to take us straight to the CDU, and I'm going to create the waypoint. And there are so many different ways to get to the location that we're looking for here for creating the waypoint. I'm going to start with the steer point rotary dial in the flight plan setting and the page dial in the steer setting, and I'm going to simply press the waypoint LSK. This takes us straight to the waypoint page, and again, there are many ways to get there, but typically this is how I fly with these rotaries in that position, and that's how I get there. Now, the very first thing we're going to do is create the new waypoint. It's going to take the data from our currently selected steer point 1, and create a copy of it when I depress this LSK right next to the 3 with a question mark, and that's going to create waypoint number 3, and this is the one that we're going to edit to reflect those coordinates. Now, as I mentioned, the coordinates were passed to us in MGRS format. I'm going to depress this LSK to take it out of lat long format and put it into UTM. This can all be a little bit confusing because UTM, Universal Transverse Mercator, is, for our purposes, the same as MGRS. So that's what we're going to use. Now, all we have to do is edit the coordinates so that the coordinates that were passed to us are the ones that are being used. So let's go ahead and go with 11 Sierra. That's already done for us. Papa Alpha is already done, but we need to edit 25197 57708 to read 35026 53669. And to do this, we enter the coordinates first. You don't have to worry about the format. All you have to do is just enter the numbers. So 35026 53669. So we have those numbers down here on our scratch pad, and then we depress the LSK next to this set of coordinates, and there we go. Our coordinates have been replaced, and very, very handily, it even updated the elevation to 3,041 feet. That is, in fact, the target elevation. I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to rename this. It's by default called MSN003. I'm just going to call this one East Target, and I'll use some shorthand here, East TGT. Press this LSK, and now let me back out, and now all we have to do is find it. And here's the other little pitfall in this. Now we've created the waypoint, but now we have to navigate towards it and slave our sensors on over there. Now, with those rotary dials in that position that I started in, with flight plan and steer points selected, I'm not going to be able to find that location. In fact, if I cycle through my steer points that I have my initial position, steer point 1 and steer point 2, but I don't have that waypoint that I just created. And what I have to do is cycle the steer point rotary over to the mission position. And this is going to now have that waypoint as an option. I have initial position, steer point 1 and steer point 2, but in addition to that, now I have East Target available, and that's where I'm going to slave my sensors. And I've got China Hat forward long to slave my targeting pod on over there. I'm going to make my targeting pod soy, sensor of interest. I zoom in, and there we go. There's the circle that was passed on to me as a target. It's right there at the exact coordinates where it was supposed to be, at the exact altitude it was supposed to be. Now I just go in there and take out the target. It's as simple as that. So let me run through that one more time. I'll just go through the workflow, and again, it's receive the coordinates, create the waypoint, and then use the sensors or aircraft systems to locate the target. And I'll do it more or less the same way. Let me go back to where we started from, and this is the steer point info page, and that's typically what I would imagine most people have up as they're flying a mission. So, and the coordinates for this is going to be north 36 degrees, 37.686 minutes, west 115 degrees, 30.415 minutes at a target altitude of 3,045 feet. So the coordinate format here is decimal lat long. So when I come down here to the CDU, and I'll go to the CDU snap view again so we can zero in on this, we start by creating the waypoint. So we depress the waypoint LSK, which takes us to the waypoint page. From here, I depress the LSK next to the 4 with a question mark. This is going to create a new waypoint, and it's going to be waypoint number 4, and it's called MSN004. And I'm going to change it from UTM, or that MGRS equivalent format, back to lat long, and then I'm going to input the coordinates. Now, you can see that the format here is in degrees and then decimal minutes, but for inputting the coordinates, all you have to do is punch in the numbers. It's going to format everything for you. So we're just going to go with 3737686, and that's going to be our latitude. And then for longitude, I'm going to go with 115.30415. Depress the LSK to change it, and it's going to update our target elevation to the ground elevation of 3,044 feet. It's kind of neat that it does that for us, and I just verify the coordinates, and I'm all set. I'm also going to rename this one from MSN004 to, I'll go with West Target, or WTGT. Depress the LSK to replace the text, and there we go. I have waypoint number 4. So, just like before, I verify that I have my steer point rotary dial in the mission position, because I just created a mission waypoint. As I got way closer to Vegas than I thought I would right there, being heads down, I'm going to step the steer point up to that new steer point or waypoint. I use those terms interchangeably here, although, and then I'm going to come back around and find it. Last time, well actually, yeah, there it is right there in the charting pod, and I can also use the HUD. So I have 50 degrees to go, it's 20 miles out in front of me, and using the HUD, there it is visually on the ground. Then I can zoom in, have a look, and see what the target is. So again, it's as easy as receiving the coordinates from the JTAC or whoever you're getting them from, inputting the coordinates as a new waypoint, and then finding that location using whatever sensor combination you want to on the aircraft, and then taking out the target. Let me concentrate here so I can actually make this work. Okay, BD33 is away. I'm going to turn out here to the right and watch this thing go in. So that's it for this edition. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.